Welcome to Coaching in Session,
where limits end and growth begins.
Hosted by Michael Rearden.
This is your space to challenge the ordinary,
unlock your potential,
and step boldly into your next chapter.
Your mindset journey continues.
When was the last time you looked at your life to see what you allow and what you don't allow in it? Was it maybe New Year's? Maybe it was a moment when someone has done wrong to you or by you, and you basically say, I'm not going to allow this anymore in my life. Well, oftentimes we fall right back to what we were doing or who we were. We revert to what's common, to what's comfortable, to what's familiar, not what's going to help us out. And we have to ask ourselves, why are we living within these standards, within these means, within this mindset? Because if we look at our habits, we can see if they're making us better, or are they making us the same, like keeping us the same, or maybe they're making our life more challenging, more difficult. Now we have to look at the choices we make. Are we making the right choices? We wake up in the morning, we decide to do something that's going to be helpful to us. Like, I'm going to go to the gym in the morning. That's a choice. Maybe when it's time for lunch, you say, I'm not going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to go get a salad, or I'm going to go make a salad, or I'm going to go to the grocery store and get the things I need. Maybe you buy a rotisserie chicken and you buy some lettuce and you cut it up and you just make a quick salad. It's not hard to do that. And it might just cost you anywhere between $7 and $8 to do that. But then when we go to McDonald's, we get the Big Mac, and I don't know how much that costs. Maybe it's like $7, $8, maybe more, right? So if you know the price of a Big Mac in the comments below, put it, because I don't even know. I haven't gone to McDonald's since high school. And that was a bit ago. 2006 was when I graduated. So 2 decades ago was the last time I visited that chain. Now, this is not to say that I don't go to some chains that are better quality, that are better foods. And I'm sure people, they love McDonald's, right? For the taste and for the convenience. This is not so much about us doing things because they're convenient. It's us doing the things because they're going to create something more in our life. What is that standard for average? And what is that standard for excellence? And here today, I want to bring attention to this article, Rewriting Your Standards, Align Your Habits and Choices with the Person You Want to Become. It's almost like a trick question. Who do you want to become? Because if we look at ourselves and we can see ourselves for the next week or month, or maybe even year, we can see typically what we want for that period of time. We could say, this is who I want to become. We do the work and it says, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this work. This is where I need to be. But when we want to become something, it's not so much of just the end of the day. Because if we say we want to become millionaires by the end of the day, most of the time our conscious mind and even our subconscious mind is going to say, well, that's not possible, right? Of course, you can get lucky. You can get a brand deal. You can get a sponsorship. You can win the lotto. All of these are possibilities, but the possibilities are extremely low. So we look at it in the sense of, even though those things are possible, I'm not going to hold my breath in order to get them. So I need to bring some more attention to the things that I can do, the things that are going to basically build the stairway to the goal that I'm trying to reach, right? Now, the person that you want to become, it might be a better version of yourself, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, maybe even monetarily, where you're like, I want to be this, right? This is what success is for me as a person. I want to become this person because then I will feel happy. Then I will feel joyous. Then I will feel like I'm someone. Well, we know that the things we do every single day are going to add up to the things that we will inevitably be. If we eat fast food every single day, one day we'll be fat. If we go to the gym and we watch our diet and we watch what we consume, eventually one day we will be healthy. If we are working on our cardio every single day, eventually we are going to have a good heart rate. We are going to have a good cardiovascular system. We know that that is going to happen because we are doing something that builds it. Now, the fallacy is many people think that they can just do something in a week, in a month, and magically they're just going to become the person that they envisioned. But in the same regards, you have to ask yourself, what have you been doing for the longest period of time? Because you haven't been trying to lift yourself up for the longest period of time. It's just something that you decided to do on a whim, or maybe this idea of it is now time to change. But if you have been treating your body poorly for 5 years, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to have some time to work on yourself, because it's going to be maybe half the time or damn near close to 5-year mark that's going to take for you to change. People don't get fat by eating one ice cream cone. They get fat by eating ice cream cones every single day. So the habits that we have to start to align ourselves with are going to be the daily habits, things that we must do every single day. This idea that we can just do something and see results immediately are basically just a fantasy. We might feel the soreness, we might feel the angst, we might feel the numbness, or we might feel the work that we have put forth. But just because we put work forth, not always are we going to see the results immediately. When I plant a seed in my garden, as much as I would love to see that sprout immediately, it could take weeks. It can take time, and it can even get to the point where I could go, do I have to plant more seeds? Did I do something wrong? Are things not working out this year? And it is one of those mindsets of, I want things in a rush. But if things happen quickly in your life, could you say that you would enjoy it? Would you say that that's the person that you want to become? The person who gets everything quickly. You want money, it comes fast. You want love, is always there in abundance. You want to explore the vast knowledge and wisdoms of what the world has to offer, and you consume it. All of that is nice on paper. But to bring that into reality, we have to do quite a bit of work in order for us to attain that. Because if we're not financially literate, yeah, we can get a bunch of money, but we will lose the equivalent. We can say that we want a bunch of love, but we lack communication skills. We don't even necessarily know how to love somebody, because maybe we haven't been loving ourselves for the longest period of time. I remember when my yoga teacher, she asked us to write down all of the people that we love. And I was just thinking about all those people. And then she basically said, am I on that list? Was I on that list of people that I loved? And I wasn't even close to it. This is this idea that if we want to become the person that we want to be, we have to start to love ourselves. We have to start to see ourselves as someone who's viable, someone who is that person, this idea that they're worth something. Now, I talk about this idea of trying to look at it like a team aspect to what can really make a different dynamic. And I basically created 5 different groups, 5 different areas, where you have one group, it's the lowest level group. And these are the people who are just down and out, these people who don't even try, these people who are literally at rock bottom. Whether they're trying to change or whether they're trying not to change, it's irrelevant. So that's the first group. And this is where we don't want to be at all, right? We want to not be in this group because it's dangerous. But it is also, we have no other option but to move forward, right? There's no lower step than that. So it could be a great place to build. Now, the next spot is probably the most difficult one, or it's the spot where most people get stuck, is that they are comfortable where they are. They're okay with their circumstances. They're okay with everything that is supposed to, be in alignment with their life. They're just like, yeah, my job is okay. It pays my mortgage, whatever, my family. My wife doesn't have sex with me, but it's okay because, sometimes on my birthday, I get some, right? So once a year, you get some, right? So, people just accept whatever they're given, right? So they're living at basically the bottom of the barrel, but it's more so of a mindset rather than a reality. Now, the next part is going to be the middle ground. And this is for the people who look around in their environment. They live in a certain city. So, for example, I live in Austin, and Austin has a wide range of different people. We have our homeless people, we have our wealthy CEOs and people who can afford anything they want, right? So we have a wide range there. And you might say, well, I don't hang out with the rich people. I don't hang out with the homeless people. I hang out with the people who can pay their mortgage. I hang out with the people who go out on happy hour on Fridays. And the mindset is, if I can just surround myself with people who are doing what I'm doing or who are the same as me, or maybe that I am better than, and this is the lifestyle that I foresee as my minimum, then I feel as if I'm doing well. I'm the best in my group, right? This is a very dangerous place too, because you might feel as if you are the head honcho, you are the B-list celebrity, and you don't necessarily have to push more in life. And rightfully so, you might not have to. You can stay there and you can find some semblance of happiness. But then you go into the next area, the next group, and these are the people who want to win. This is more than just being okay with being in your group. Number one, you want to be the best in your group. But then number two, you want to be able to move beyond your group. You want the title as well as all of the accolades that are there for you. Now, the big issue is the last area, the people who want to dominate, the people who want the best of the best, the people who want to be in the top 1 to 5% of whatever they're doing. For example, my podcast. Maybe if I'm in this area of domination, I want to be in the top 1 to 5% of podcasts globally. Or maybe if I wanted to just look at it in the sense of what the podcast is, personal development, I want to be in the top 1 to 5% of that. And if I was that, then I am dominating in that field and I'm dominating in my area. However, when we start to give ourselves this different standard of how we want to live, some on the low end of the barometer, some at the very high end of the barometer, where we see only the good. Well, in life, when we're planning, typically we plan for the best. Now, if we plan for the best and fail to prepare for the worst, then we are going to always find ourselves on our butt at the end of the day, meaning we're going to get knocked over without a plan. So we need to have a plan. We need to figure out what we're going to do. And this is where this article comes in, right? Rewriting your standards, align your habits and choices with the person you want to become. This here is going to give you the framework, the invisible framework, I guess you can say, where it's going to say, if we can build our life like this, then it's going to be almost certain that we can become the person that we are envisioning for ourselves. Because if I say you go to the gym every single day, you're going to get in shape. That is to say that you're working out to a higher degree and that you're eating well as well. Because you don't just want to go to the gym and eat poorly. You can't outwork a bad diet. We know that. So we know that the habits and the choices can create the person that we want to become. But sometimes when we're trying to figure out what habits we have to create or what choices we need to make, it's more than just going to ChatGPT and asking, hey, what habits do I need if I want this? Because they're going to give you a list and they're all going to be viable for you to take action, for you to say, hey, if I do this, statistically, I'm going to become that, right? If I pour cement, eventually the cement is going to get hard. We know that. How long will it take? How long will it take for us to form into something more or for the person that we're trying to become? No one truly knows. It's going just to be one of those things where every single day we work tirelessly and we make sure that at the end of it, we can say that we did something. Because if we can go through the day and at the end of the day, we're not tired, we're not exhausted, we're not even remotely excited for the next day, then that means we didn't set it up properly. Because if you think of our birthday, and this is a great example, or maybe your Christmas or something, especially when you're younger, the day before that big thing, your birthday, to Christmas, right? The presents, you can't sleep. You're like, man, I can't sleep. I'm so excited for what's to come. What if I told you, if you had that same feeling for your life, that you were so excited for what's to become, the person that you are becoming was like that night before? Of course, you would get used to it so you can get some sleep, because we know that we need to rest properly. We just can't be the excited kid before Christmas or our birthday and to get all the gifts. But the mindset should still be there, that we are excited for the change, that we are excited for what's to come next. Oftentimes, when people are getting ready to sleep, especially when they're becoming their better selves, they are worried about all of the work, all of the challenges, all the things they have to do, rather than all the things they get to do. To become the person that you want to become is a privilege. Not everyone's going to be able to get there. And the people who do need to understand that if they've walked on that path to get it, they can lose that destination if they fail to maintain it. Now, the maintenance aspect is not so much of, all right, I'm just going to keep on doing everything to a certain level, right? Because you can become someone that you think you want to become. You can say that these are the habits, these are the choices that I have to make. And at some point, you're going to plateau. And you can say, well, I'm happy where I am, right? And this goes back to the people who are just living in their circumstances. They're just happy where they are. The thing about becoming your best self, right? The person you want to become is not so much of a destination. It's of a journey point, meaning at some point you're going to get to where you want to be. Think of it this way. When I did a lot of hiking, I would go from one mountain peak to the next. I didn't say my goal was to reach one mountain peak or two mountain peaks. I would simply say my goal is to walk. My goal is to journey. And I didn't know what I would find on that journey. And even though sometimes I would go on the same walking paths and the same trails, it was always a new experience. The sun was different that day. The leaves, the trees sounded different that day. I was different that day. Because the day of me going on that hike was either one day older or 1 week older than what I was previously. So I knew that I was a different person, and people think that they remain the same. But right now, I'm going to share a bit of mindset. Right now, you are the youngest you will ever be. And right now, you have an opportunity to start something that can help propel you to better habits and better choices. But people, they want easy things. They don't want the hard. They don't want the challenges. If they had a magic wand that they can wave and all of their life would be perfect, I'm sure the majority of people in the world will start waving away until they got everything they thought they or feel like they needed. Because I can't tell you how many times I thought about something, especially like a house, where I would say, I need this much home for all the things that I want. But the reality is, how do I know what I wanted? How do I know where I would be later on in life? Because I remember when I was probably like 23, probably 23. So it was over 10 years ago, 13 years ago, or more than that now. I basically said, this is the house that I want. And it was a very nice house, beautiful house in Connecticut. And now I wouldn't even dare to look at that house and say that this house is a viable option. It's not so much that the house is ugly or that it was too expensive or anything. It's more that my life changed. I've changed. The person that I wanted to become at some point is very different than the person that I am today. Because this person that we want to become is more so of a journey than of a destination, as I said earlier. This idea that even though we can plan for something, at some point it will either be too much or too little. I know many people who build their dream homes. They get all the things that they want, and they find themselves 5, 10, 20 years later. Oh, this is too much house. This is not enough house. But at one point, it was your dream, right? Fulfilled. You say, wow, I got everything that I wanted and everything was good. And now I want something different. Maybe that's the human aspect. Maybe that's just karma playing a fun trick on us. saying, well, you did all of that work, you spent all of that money, and now look at you. Because we can say that maybe we shouldn't buy homes. Maybe we should just lease homes to what we are doing right now. Or maybe you could future-proof your home, where you say, okay, this home is going to be this. It's going to have this many levels. It's going to be able to do everything that I needed to do. But just because it can do something for the long term, will we want to do the things that are needed from that for the long term? Because a big house means more cleaning. It means more electrical bills. It can mean more maintenance, right? It can mean more problems. So we have to develop the habits and then make the choices to make sure that house just doesn't become something that deteriorates. People who move into their home, the only thing they're going to fix are maybe the roof, maybe the windows 20, 30 years later, and maybe any heating or cooling units that start to not work properly, because we want comfort in our home. And many people build homes to be comfortable. But yet, when we're becoming the person that we want to be, comfort should be a back burner idea. Because the person that we want to become is not comfortable. It's a person who's hungry. It's a person who's thirsty for more. And even if they get water, they get some food, their appetite or their thirst cannot be quenched. It's something that we need to give ourselves this idea that, yeah, sure, we can change our habits and our choices to be better than what we are today. And we can say that we did the work. But the work is not simply done because we did the work to one of our goals. There's always a goal behind the goal. There's always a step after the step that we have taken. And you might feel as if you are at the edge of the precipice, you're at the edge of the cliff, and you don't know what to do. Jump. Leap of faith. That fear right there is going to lead you to so many more journeys. Now, this is not to say we leap to our death. This is to say that we leap to the next opportunity, to the next trial, the next trail, the next path, the next goal, the next mountain peak, whatever you want to consider it. It's more so of we understand that there's a level of excellence that we want to reach. We know that there's a purpose that we want to feel and live. And all of this is going to lead to the fulfillment that we will inevitably have in our life. So when we take a look at this article, Rewriting Your Standards, how we align our habits and our choices with the person we want to become, we are looking at many different aspects of our daily habits, our daily routines, and then future-proofing, in a sense, what we would like to be. Because if I say tomorrow you're going to be a less version of yourself, would you wholeheartedly say, wow, I'm excited to be less than what I was? If I say tomorrow you're going to significantly have less money in your bank account, are you going to say, whoa, I'm so excited to be that person? Oftentimes, when it comes to reduction, there is going to be something that's going to come in our mind, especially when it's a positive thing like money or feeling happy, right? But if there's like a reduction in fat, maybe you might say that's a good thing, right? So depending on the reduction, it can be a good thing or bad thing. But in the sense of this article, right, the habits and the choices, right, we want those things that are going to raise our level of standard that we're currently living right now. So if you're a person that is struggling with the person that they're trying to become, whether you know that person or if you don't know that person, if you need help and you need support, reach out to us, revenconcepts.com. Get yourself a consultation, learn more about how you could become a better version of yourself. Learn how the habits that you're currently living in or with and the choices that you're currently making, how they are either making you or breaking you. They could be an asset or they could be a detriment. So we need to fill ourselves up with more ideas to the next level, the next step, the next challenge. All of this is to raise the standards of who we are today, because the person that we want to become, there's always going to be a moving target. Some days we might feel as if we got close. Some days we might feel as if we have not even saw them in our sight. But when we can barely touch them, right, just right there, that's how we know we made tremendous progress in our day before. And we need to feel that every single day.